the most nerve-wracking thing was actually showing it to our actual moms.
Did you understand what the different loves mean? Like literally that awkward.
For sure, no, we're not doing that. Hey everyone, we just released a short film that Julie and I co-directed called Zoetic.
So check it out on the main channel and then come back and watch the extended interview.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So, as you guys know, and as I've said many times, you recognize Julie from previous Wong Fu works. But this time you came in as a director.
Co-director.
Co-director. Julie wrote this story and she shared it with me at a time when I felt kind of not very confident in my own work. And so it was really special to me that
That's
you asked.
crazy
that
to
you
think
asked,
that. I had no idea. Obviously, he's Wesley Chan, and I was actually really intimidated to ask you. I was like, the dream person I want to work on this with, because the other thing too is I knew like he would relate with his mom, but it was also very specifically a Cantonese like language story that I knew was going to be in it, and I was like, if I want someone to direct this, like I want him to speak Cantonese. So he was the dream. And I was too scared to directly ask. So I literally emailed him the script, was like, I'll never hear back. But hey, Wes, I'm looking for someone to be involved in this. If you know anyone like yourself.
And that was, I was really offended by that.
And I was honored. Actually, I think within the next day, he responded to reading that script faster than he responds to my text messages.
True. I'm not great with responding.
So I was really surprised he responded at all. But the fact that he related to the story and then obviously added so much to the heart of it.
We crafted the story. You know, at the heart of it, the themes stay the same. You know, you want to talk about the different types of love, the relationship between our mothers, like that stayed. I think it was like tonally, we shifted some things tonally so that it would be more cohesive. Right?
It's so funny because Wes has the Westhetic, right? It's the Westhetic. Just beautiful, introverted.
I mean, you wanted it to look beautiful,
artistic,
too, right?
but the tone, right?
Yeah.
And I am like a multi-cam sitcom in real life, and somehow, we birthed this hybrid that Wes was like, calm down. Calm down.
No.
It was good. I'm glad you calmed it down.
I think the compromise was made it very strong because there's certain things you're like, no, this should play out this way. And then I was like, yeah, let's do it that way. But other things you leaned on me and said, you know, how would you do this? And for me, less is more.
Yes.
So I was like, we don't even need that. Let's just, you know, boil it down to this. And you were really happy with that too.
Yeah, I'm so grateful because I think obviously this is the first like real thing that I co-directed, and I was very nervous about that, and you were so good about, you know, taking the lead but also giving me the space to
take the space. Take all the space.
To also like figure it out as well.
Yeah.
And again, like us in real life having such different personalities worked really well to make a cohesive baby.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun for me seeing your directing side, and also being able to direct something that I didn't write. That was one of the few times outside of Wong Fu. And I think
you also made it your own too. I think a lot of your heart is in it as well.
Okay, so the story was great, but the cast really brought it to life. Why don't you tell us about the amazing cast that was in this? Yourself.
That doesn't matter. We absolutely had just the most incredible cast, and there's so many like fun stories that came out of it. First and foremost, Ying is just one of the most phenomenal actresses I've ever worked with.
She played your mom.
She played my mom once before, which is how... So Wes and I kind of toyed with the idea of using my real mom, and I was like, there's no way I could be so vulnerable.
But your mom's also a great performer.
My mom was a singer in China, so
She was in Yappy.
She was Phil's mom in Yappy. My mom's made some cameos. It was, But
Dawn...
Dawn, I mean... We didn't need to do much. She just had instantly the heart, the soul, the spirit of, I think, every Asian mom. Yeah. Everybody felt like she was our mom.
The ask in itself was very specific. it was Cantonese mom type. How many of those are in LA?
And a good actress.
And a good actress.
Yeah.
Right? And not only that, but you had a history with her.
Yeah, so I played her daughter, but the 16-year-old daughter back then in a film called My Mother's Jade. And she did such a phenomenal job in that it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I had to bring her back for
and
this.
coming back, the time passage actually kind of worked.
Yeah.
She's playing your mom with an older daughter now, and now the story is kind of focused on her instead.
Yes.
So I thought that was a sign, if any, because you had played mother-daughter before.
Yeah.
It was so natural.
And she had that sort of nurturing sense of motherliness. It was so easy to work with her. And I remember that heartfelt scene in the kitchen when we were shooting it. I was like, can I have a hug? And all she had to do was hug me, and I was like dropped in and ready to go. Yeah. So Phil Morris was another incredible actor that we had the honor of working with, and he played Dave, the love interest, the good love interest in Zoetic. And our friend Chad Kennedy had worked with him on another film and TV shows, and I mean he's been around.
Legit. Phil Morris is legit.
Again, I was so intimidated. I was like, I don't know if he's gonna say yes, but he read the script and he thought that scene with the shower sandals and the pillowcases was so heartfelt and endearing and unusual that. And by the way, my mom does wear shower sandals.
There was so much. He brought so much charm.
So much
and,
charm.
Like off the page, it was already a fun scene with the
Yeah.
analogies and stuff, but like the way he makes Dawn, your mom, laugh in that scene, like it felt so real. It also like so endearing because you don't really see an older black man with an Asian woman.
Absolutely. And we wanted to break that stereotype too, because
There's more similarities than differences.
Exactly. As for the grandparents, these phenomenal actors are actually my grandparents.
Yeah.
We also talked about the casting process for this.
There's no one. Like they're in their 90s.
90s.
Right? And it made it very, very special and very connected to you because it was your real family.
Real family. And, the whole point of that scene was that long-standing, sort of consistent, loyal love. And my grandparents had been married for 74 years, which is just unimaginable. So you can't fake that kind of history.
Yeah.
And obviously what was even more special was the fact that my grandpa had passed away after we shot that. And at the premiere, my mom and grandma, when I asked, how did you guys like the film? The first thing they said was, we're so glad that your grandpa got to be a part of it. And it honored him forever.
It was so special that was that the first day, I think, at your...
Yeah, it was.
So we actually shot at Julie's mom's house and grandparents' house, and having all of them at the table eating lunch together, regardless of if it was scripted or not. It was just nice seeing all you guys and interacting on screen together.
But that day was actually really funny.
Yeah. Why don't you give that anecdote real quick?
So we were in the middle of prepping to shoot the lunch scene with all the food. And so Dawn was rehearsing all the lines that my mom actually would say, like, wash your hands, go pee, while my grandparents came home and were getting ready for real lunch. So my real mom was saying, wash your hands, go pee. And Dawn was pretend cooking to block out the scene while my mom was really cooking. And we had the fake set food, like the shrimp and everything. And Adrian, our set designer, like made it super pretty. And the real food that my grandparents were actually eating, but my grandpa kept stealing the shrimp from
and listening to the wrong directions because there was two moms saying the same things. There was two sets of food because lunch was actually shot during lunch.
Real lunch.
So it was confusing for anyone, but give it to 90-year-old grandparents, it's going to be even more confusing.
So yeah, only half the shrimp was left by the time we shot it.
Yeah.
But it was really cute. My grandma was like, super gung-ho about all the stage directions and keeping my grandpa in line.
Yeah, they were pros.
They were meant to be actors.
I want to ask, you mentioned it briefly, how did you get the idea for like the different kinds of love and that being the structure for the short?
The very, very first draft of the script didn't have it. And all the scenes were kind of structurally there, but just something didn't seem like it connected everything. And Chad Kennedy, one of the producers, actually mentioned that the Greek had, I think there's 6 or 7 different types of love, which I hadn't known before. He's like, why don't you research it and see if there's anything there? When I did, what magically happened was all the different types of Greek love kind of fit perfectly into all the scenarios. And it also made us realize that Asian love, there's really only 3. And it was nice to show what the other 3, the playful, the passionate, the friendship looked like.
I think they're all there. I think in the Asian culture, maybe the other ones aren't expressed as much.
They're not expressed. It is there.
It is there. When you have these, when you have a structure, people are able to follow along a lot easier. Okay, so Zoetic captures all the different types of loves, but the name itself, the title for the film, went through some struggles. I find it very hard to name short films, or any film, any project is very hard to name because it's the identity, right? For the longest time, Julie had, the script was called this, the file, even the premiere profile was called
Tender Loving Care.
Tender Loving Care.
I was so proud of it.
And I love puns. I love puns.
I know.
Right?
But it was not the Westhetic you were
was
going for.
For sure, no, we're not doing that.
He's like, I will quit if we call it this.
Because after the tonal changes, that's not the identity, right?
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
So we ended with Zoetic. I think you said we were looking for just Greek names.
For like a whole night.
Yeah.
And we stumbled upon the word.
Zoetic basically is like the very essence of living is
the
meaning.
Human experience.
The human experience. Yeah. So we thought, you know what? That really embodies these types of loves altogether. So Zoetic is what we ended with. And
but what do you guys like better?
Tender Loving Care is a short you can make on your own, Julie.
The sitcom version, yes.
So we're showing this on Wong Fu Productions, but we talked about how it came from Julie's head. She brought me into it, but it really wouldn't have been possible without the team here at Wong Fu, and
Absolutely.
Also our friends at Wong Fu. So I mentioned earlier that Benson produced and AD'd this. Michelle edited this over many long nights.
Many.
Our friend Adrian was production designer. Andrew Yee, a good friend of ours, was grip or gaffer.
And Justin was sound.
Yeah. Basically, like Homer, everyone, dear friends of Wong Fu were part of this. But I remember that last scene when you're having the heart-to-heart with your mom. Like, we're filming it. I'm like on the ground crouched, and like I think I hear sniffles from people, because everyone is like crying, because like they wish they could have this talk with their mom. And I think when you're speaking, like, to tell your mom to love herself, like, we're all hearing that as if we're saying it to our mom. It was very special, right? I think you remember that. And we got into some festivals.
Yeah.
Right? We went to Bufferfest in Toronto.
Cam.
We went to Cam.
Boston Asian Film Festival.
Yeah. But beyond film festivals, the most nerve-wracking thing was actually showing it to our actual moms. And for this moment, we chose a day where my mom was also visiting LA. And then Julie's mom came over to my place, and we showed it to them for the very first time.
I think Wes was crouched in the corner of his living room, away from all of us.
It was very, very nervous.
Very much. It was so vulnerable. That's why.
Yeah. I remember both our moms were sitting side by side on the couch. You and I were like in a different room, just listening. And it was the first time our moms had met too.
Yeah.
Right. And they were probably like, why are we here? What are we doing? Oh, it's something our kids did. But I can imagine it being even more nerve-wracking for you because you're on screen with your mom. Do you remember the reactions?
I did.
What do you remember?
So both your mom's dog, Bolo, and my dog was there.
They brought the dogs.
And at the end, they did what every Asian mom would do, which was deflect. And your mom, I think, turned to me and was like, good acting.
Yeah.
And then my mom turned to you and was like, good filmmaking. And then they started talking about our dogs.
Yeah. It was like, oh yeah, it's very good. So how old is he? And then they're talking about the dogs.
And that was they just like all of, I think, their emotion just got channeled into the dogs because I don't think they were able to.
Well, I don't think they read it as a this is me on screen.
Do you think so?
Not
I
my
felt
mom.
like it was so obvious.
No. Well, maybe for your mom, but I think they were just watching it as a piece of work, and they didn't internalize it. But you said it was different on the ride home. You had a conversation with your mom.
Yes, but actually it was like a year or two later.
Okay.
So on the ride home, I attempted one more time.
Yeah.
I was like, so did you understand what the different loves mean? Like literally that awkward. She's like, yeah, I think so. Do you want to explain it to me again? I was like, oh, Jesus. So I kind of went through the loves again. She's like, yeah, that makes sense. But a year or two later, Jason Lee from Jubilee Media actually had me, my mom, and grandma do like a little fun shoot together, and they interviewed my mom. And it wasn't until there that one of the questions just inspired my mom to say, and my daughter taught me that it's okay to be a little bit selfish and think of myself and be happy. And I was again crouched in the corner, like listening, and I did not expect this at all. And my mind blew. So it was internalized. Did you ever have a moment like that with your mom?
No. Oh, you know what? I think I had that moment with some of the stuff we made this past year.
That's true.
Yeah, so the stuff that I made with my mom, which is a little bit more like direct, like asking her stuff, I think I had that moment then. I'm really happy that a lot of people could resonate with this story, because I think, individually we think, oh, our mom is our mom, and the way they act no one's going to get it, right? But when everyone thinks no one's going to get it, we all realize that we're all not so different.
Yeah.
And thank you, Julie, for sharing.
Thank you for sharing, and thank you guys for watching.
Yeah. So you established this character, and top 3 in the HBO, contest. What is going to happen with this story now?
Good question. Well, I am currently developing a pilot that Wes and a lot of other people in Huangpu have heard about and read, and it is from the perspective of an Asian American woman in her late 20s, 30s, and the mom character is still named Jackie and very much based on my mom comes back. So it is Zoetic in sort of a television series form. Yeah. So hopefully we will get it pitched and made, because Asian American stories matter.
Yeah, it's really good. I've been kind of hearing bits and pieces of it.
He's been giving me a lot of good feedback, so thank you.
You guys push Julie to make that, because we all want to see it. But in the meantime,
you're gonna help me.
I'll help. In the meantime, I'm sure we'll be seeing you more on Wangfu Production stuff.
I hope so. Bring me back.
But thanks so much, Julie, for sharing that with us, and we hope you guys enjoyed it.
Thank you.